today we're talking about the bangers. Oh boy, it's been a while since I've done a video like this. I know you're frustrated. Maybe you just got home from pickleball. You just don't know what to do. They're so aggressive, the ball is so fast, yada yada. I know exactly what it feels like. I'm here to help. Watch this video all the way through. We're gonna go over everything. So are you ready? Let's go. The number one thing you must understand when it comes to dealing with a banger is to understand their history. Where did they come from when it comes to a sport? Did they play tennis? Did they play racquetball or anything like that? When you begin to understand their history and what their tendencies are, then you'll be able to predict the shot ahead of time. And that is the big key to beating a banger. It's predicting the shot in the first place, because if you see it coming, then you can react accordingly. So focus on the individual in question. What's their game? What's their style? What do they like to do? When you get all of that sorted out in your head, then you'll be able to predict these things ahead of time and you'll be much quicker. In reality, you really won't be that much quicker, but you'll be quicker to the draw, and that's the point. So let's get into some of the technique now. So we're going to begin with kind of a general overview when it comes to the technique, but the first thing we need to do is we have to stay calm. One of the big mistakes that I see when it comes to dealing with bangers is that people they'll be too erratic, right? And they'll be kind of jittery and they'll yank stuff, right? You have to stay calm when you know that a hard shot is coming. Again, you know the player in question, you can see them revving up, you can see the body language, the paddle's coming back, you know it's coming. Stay calm, because here's the thing, if you don't stay calm, then you're not gonna be able to block the shot, but most importantly, you're not gonna let some of those go, all right? So I want you to watch my body language very, very carefully here. My buddy Rob here is gonna hit really hard shots at me. Watch my body language. You notice how calm and collected I am. I'm not freaking out, not jumping up into the air, my legs aren't flying out or anything. I'm just stoic, steady, and ready, and I'm getting the paddle into the path of the ball as quickly as I can. So do you see how that works? You notice how short and sweet everything is. You want to think of this as a point A to point B kind of thing here. Point A is you have your paddle out in front of you. Point B is the shortest distance that you need to take to get into the path of the ball. Point A to point B, very, very, very important. You do not have time to swing at the ball. Stop swinging at these shots, guys. These are blocks, these are not attacks. You don't have time to take the paddle back and start to do a roll or like a punch volley or whatever it is. There's no time for that. The only thing you can do is get the paddle in the way quickly and block like this. That's it. A lot of people make that mistake. They try to swing too much and it's just going to lead to disaster. Now, the next thing I want to go over here, I'm going to kind of scoot up for you here, is what happens is, understandably, of course, when the hard shot is coming over, a lot of people will do this, right? And of course, right, because you're trying to protect yourself and doing this kind of thing. The problem is that when you do that, look where the face is pointing. That way. And what does that mean? You know what that means, right? So we want to start to twist the wrist down. So you want to sort of have your palm out like this, and you want to face it down like that. Feel this kind of motion like that, all right? It's almost as if you have a watch here and you're trying to point the watch to the ground. Got to get that angle down, because what happens a lot is a lot of people who like to hit the ball hard, they can't handle shots at their feet, and that's the point. The technique is to twist it down, okay? So here we go. So you see how the paddle is angled down like that? That's what helps to keep the balls from popping up so much. What we're gonna do now is focus on stop hitting it to the forehand in the first place. Now, this requires placement and accuracy, and this is way harder than it looks, but what I'm going to do is when I'm blocking these shots, I'm gonna focus on blocking and placing to the backhand so that I will either not get a drive back at all, or I'll get one that's significantly less powerful. Very few people have the same type of power with both hands. Very, very few, okay? So I'm gonna be focused on that backhand. Here we go. So you notice here, trying to keep it to the backhand here. And what that does, it slowly begins to diffuse the rally, and that's what you're aiming for here. You want to stop the banging or stop the bleeding, essentially. So stop feeding the forehand if you want to stop the bleeding. All right, we're gonna show you some full court examples here. It's really easy to block shots when you're at the net like that, but what happens when you're actually running in? Okay, so we're gonna do serve, return, and then third. He's gonna do a third shot drive, or I'll do a third shot drive, and we'll show you what these blocks look like while you're coming to the kitchen, because that's where most of the issues are. Again, stay calm. There's no need to freak out, guys. Stay calm. Block and place. And look, if they want to run around something, they want to run around their forehand or whatever, good. Use that to block and then place the shot. Okay, so you notice how I let that go? You will score so many points by letting those go. So if you're having trouble stopping in the middle of the transition zone to block a shot, well, it's difficult, but you want to try to do a little split step, which is when you spread out your stance and you stop. If you can't handle that, that's okay. Try to just slow down and then begin to squat. Like that. You see the little split that I did right there? That is key. So as you can see, I'm trying to stay calm. I'm watching Rob's body language. And I'm just trying to feel the point, feel my way through all this stuff. Don't let myself get overwhelmed. And just play. And now I'm on the offense all of a sudden. Now that's all good and all, but what happens if they start to come forward? It's the same thing, but things begin to explode a little bit more. Your goal with this is to keep it to their feet. That is your whole goal, feet. So again, short, sweet strokes, precise kind of stuff here. Very precise, very short, abbreviated. That's what you're trying to get at here. Oh! Oh God, that's nice. There was one little bit here that I forgot to mention when I was doing the video the other day. I mentioned it kind of in passing, but really important, guys, to let some of these high balls go out. You will score a lot of points when you let those shots go out. Think of it sort of as kind of like as an investment. You put money into something, or you put it into like a diversified portfolio or whatever. Not all of them are going to win, but you're hoping that most of them will win in some way, right? You have to think of this the same way. If you let 4 out balls go past you, not necessarily out yet, but just go past you, you're hoping that at least 3 of those will go out. Well, unless the opponent is serving and they're at 10 points, I'd be more than happy to pay 1 point to get 3 more. Think of it that way, right? You're paying 1 to get 3. Shoulder high, let it fly isn't necessarily a rule. They can sort of hit a nice little lobby, slow-paced changeup at you. If it's shoulder high, that thing is staying in. Also watch for the topspin. Topspin tends to dive towards the end of the path, and that will keep the ball in as well. But yeah, start to let those shots go out. Even just as an experiment, let it go out, see what happens. And when you start to do that more often, you'll learn how the ball behaves and you'll be able to react accordingly down the line. But it's all about starting that process, starting the experimentation, seeing what works, what doesn't work. But it all begins with not reacting when those shots are really, really high. Guys, I hope that was helpful. I know it's frustrating, but the key to beating a banger is to stay calm, use abbreviated strokes, learn how to block in place, and most importantly, learn how to block in place to their feet. That is going to help a lot. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you had any success with that. And of course, as usual, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.